Should we go into now the main event story of the week? The poor Titus O'Neil, free Titus.
Free Titus.
Free Titus. You saw the footage, I'm assuming.
Oh, of course.
And I was so upset that last week we taped the program because, folks, we do pre-tape so that we have time to send this to MLW Radio, and Court Bauer tacks it up with thumbtacks. He's so fucking cheap. So we tape on Tuesday afternoon, and this happened like Tuesday evening, and it was all over Twitter and all over the internet on Wednesday. But for those of you who have been living under the same rock that George Bush has been, apparently after they have the nice ceremony for Brian Danielson, and he makes his retirement speech, everybody's going back up the ramp. They're they're going right under the Obstructatron 5000, as Bolin calls it. It's not the Titantron, it's the Obstructatron 5000, because in these big buildings, it obstructs about 5,000 seats, so they can say they're sold out without actually selling out these big buildings. Yeah. So they're walking up the ramp under the Obstructatron 5000, and all the stars are lining the way, and here comes Vince and Stephanie and the slow-petted Cro-Magnon son-in-law, and Titus O'Neil apparently playfully reaches out and just, grabs Vince by the arm, say, hey, ladies first, is apparently what the story has been now, as the way it's been told. Hey, ladies first, to let Stephanie go, and Vince turns around and shoves that motherfucker like he was about to be the victim of a carjacking. Did you see the heat, the sudden Vince, why would you? Was there enough there that you would go after somebody like that and just shove the fuck out of him and get hot? What the fuck was Vince thinking about, do you think?
By all accounts, a nice guy, a guy who was won Father of the Year, and I'm not talking Fritz von Erich Father of the Year. I'm talking about a legitimate charitable Father of the Year. Yeah. A good guy. I think there's just this double standard there where it's, as Vince said on Steve Austin's show, you gotta lighten up, you gotta have fun making fun. Everyone should have fun when Vince wants to have fun. But if you try to have fun with Vince when he doesn't want to, all of a sudden you get suspended. The word has come out that originally he wanted to fire him, and Triple H and Joey Mercury had to talk him down from a 90-day suspension. I believe now it's been cut to a 60-day suspension. Either way, he misses his Mania payday, which is really the big punishment of all. And, again, it's a double standard. You tell me, you worked up there. Well, Vince is someone who plays around and likes to have fun, right? When he wants to.
Well, but he's a Republican, so he, once again, he picks and chooses, what rights and freedoms. But I didn't even see anything there that the Vince McMahon that I knew 15 years ago or whatever the fuck would freak out about, especially when it wasn't some. And once again, here's the same Vince McMahon that put up with that pillhead fucking Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, that's the big argument always.
That put up with the Clique, and they're fucking just wiping their feet on his business and just obstructing everything and fucking the dressing room up and causing ill will amongst everybody and all that shit. But here this guy just and it wasn't even on, it was barely on the fucking show. You wouldn't have known anything was going on except Vince turned around and shoved the fucking guy so hot, right?
And they edited it off the network, so I believe the footage is no longer there.
And then they had to take it down and cut it off and everything. But the point is, right as they were fading to black.
Yeah.
No pun intended there with poor Titus. He faded to black. He in Black History Month. That's why I didn't even come up with that. Somebody on Twitter said, hey, for Black History Month, Vince McMahon made a black man history. But in all fucking honesty, a guy who apparently has not caused trouble before, who looks, does all this charity work and looks like an exemplary employee to the public, instead of some fucking pilled up jack off that's fucking everything up and doesn't want to do jobs and everything. And I don't understand why he would have turned and just shoved the fucking guy. So why would you instantly get hot like that? And then afterwards, why wouldn't, you go back in the back? And this comes from the guy that slapped the shit out of Santino Marella, because he actively was being a fucking wise ass and fucked with the business and fucked with one of the boys on camera and in front of fans. And why wouldn't you just say, why did you grab me? It wasn't the time to grab me, Titus. Don't grab me again. Sorry, boss. Okay, fine. Move on. They want to fire him. Then they suspend him. Then they look like fucking idiots in front of the whole world. Apparently, Vince takes being a Republican to mean that you're supposed to look like a stupid fuck and an irresponsible, irrational idiot in front of fucking people.
If John Cena had done that, or if Shawn Michaels had done that, do you think they would receive the same punishment?
Well, of course not.
But there you go. There's the double standard.
But I don't even see why I don't even know why if one of the ring crew guys had done it. It's not like he came up and popped Vince with a fucking right cross to the fucking jaw. He grabbed him on the arm. If Vince had kept walking, I don't think he would have been able to hold him back. If Vince had just gone, what the fuck do you want? Ladies first? Oh, Stephanie, pal. Oh. Vince made the deal out of it and made it noticeable. Would not have been noticeable had not for Vince lost his fucking head.
Correct.
Maybe it's all the fucking, human growth hormone or whatever, because he's on the cover of Muscle and Fitness at 73 years old. I don't know, but then he should like Titus O'Neil, because Titus O'Neil's biggest quality is he's a jacked up bodybuilder. Vince loves that kind of thing. I was surprised he's being upset about being manhandled by a big jacked up bodybuilder. If it had been Daniel Bryan, who just retired, if it had been his retirement ceremony, if he'd have been the flunky standing there on the stage, he probably would have fired him, because he never wanted him there to begin with. And he's probably still pissed off that he got over. But it just, that, I couldn't believe, when I first heard about it, I was like, holy shit, what did this guy say or do? I thought he whispered in his ear, you motherfucker, you fucked that poor guy all this time, now he's got to retire. Now that, okay, bam, we got some fisticuffs. But
and then the company, because they didn't like the heat they were getting for it, because they were getting heat for the fact that it happened, but then also a lot of people were accusing them of racism because it happened to Titus O'Neil and questioning whether it would happen like that to a white wrestler. Then they released his text message that he sent the office apologizing to the press, which I think is a little inappropriate as well.
Well, besides, what does that prove? Well, the boss had a fucking senior moment and flipped the fuck out on me, even though I didn't really do anything that wrong. So I guess I better apologize because he's talking about firing me.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the most sincere apology ever. And actually, the one thing that Batista said that I've agreed with in the last fucking 16 years since we were saddled with training him here in Louisville was that he called or texted or wrote or fucking sent up a flare or whatever and told Titus O'Neil he ought to ask for his release. And I truthfully... And we know there's only one place to work, folks, but, and I'm sure he's got a nice contract, but actually, I would say I've quit higher paying jobs than that. If he really had any fucking gumption, and especially if he had any other place to go, which is another reason why the boys are over a barrel, I'd have told Vince McMahon, you know what, fuck you, asswipe. You want to fucking make a big deal out of this? I was just kidding around. How about if you think you're so fucking tough, you want to be on the cover of Muscle and Fitness, come down, let's get in the ring next week, and the loser has to fucking be suspended. How about that? If and that's the way that the boys would have handled it back in the old days when there was other places to work, which is another reason why the wrestling business sucks today compared to then, because you didn't have to put up with shit like that. Ernie Ladd, he was famous for this. If he goddamn came to a show and he saw a big house out there and he was in the main event and he felt he had built it and his money wasn't right, or he was having a problem with the promoter or whatever, he'd take his fucking bag and he would walk out into the arena and he would make a circle around the ring and everybody would see him, and nobody else looked like Ernie Ladd. So you would see Ernie Ladd and he'd walk right out the front door. And then what are they going to do? Ernie Ladd's plane's late, he can't be here for the main event tonight, or Ernie Ladd's car broke down? No.
I think Brody used to do that too.
Brody used to do it too, because that's back when the boys had some fucking power, because there were places to go and you didn't have to take it. You didn't have to eat shit and like it, as one of Vince McMahon's favorite comments is. And you didn't have to be fucking pushed around by a goddamn lunatic senior citizen that's on fucking the rich, expensive human growth hormone they can't pick up in the tests because he's fucking demented and thinks that at 73 years old he's still supposed to be jacked up like fucking Superman. You didn't have to put up with that. And that's another reason why I say that the goddamn wrestling business has been shot to hell, because the boys have to now eat this shit and put up with this stuff instead of just saying, fuck you, old man. I'll fight you, fuck you, or run you a foot race. If we don't agree, I'll go someplace else and work. And you can kiss my ass. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, well, but the other thing.
You can, but you have to be prepared then not to go, which, and I got news for you, folks. Staying home and not being on the road, very underrated. It is lovely. I can testify to that.
Well, if someone, too, said, fuck you, old man, I'm leaving, I guarantee that for at least a year, they'd be able to get enough high-priced indie bookings that, it would cover it for a year.
Oh, and actually, if you're any good, which I don't know whether Titus O'Neil is, because I've never seen him wrestle. And now that I'm taking up for him, I've never seen him once on TV because I don't watch the show. But if he's any good, as AJ Styles has proven and as a few other people have proven, you can make quite a good living out there.
Yeah.
But it's fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. So mark me down as an official member of the Titus O'Neil fan club if he'd have just knocked, and I'm still on his side, but if he'd have just knocked Vince out and said, fuck it, I'll go do something else, that he would have